Hello there, this is Marcio Gali and here reporting from the season Coding with Agents or Culture Coding with Agents. And forgive me, today I'm not using the desktop environment, and maybe the audio here is even better. Anyway, throughout the sessions, what we have are reflections from the day, the routine of a developer, a builder, okay, as we go through the agentic days, correct? All right, now let me show you something today, because the thing is, I can't undo work, and I'm not recording 24/7 this developer session work or sessions. And then what can we do? Complication, right? Answer. The only thing we can do is to pause when something happens, right? So I like to pause. Maybe that's a problem, right? Maybe that's gonna cost for the life of a developer, a builder. But I try to come up with the reflections after something happens, right? And today, when working with an agent, visual code, and yeah, right? There we are, visual code, and here you have codecs, right? And so I caught myself in front of something new. And by the way, throughout the sessions, I mentioned that before. We think that we're going through, new things. But see, the agent model, right? Just like the case with the robots, many innovators, they come up with the idea of the humanoid, right? Because the interface is the same, it's not the best interface, but right, it can use the washing machine, it can use the iron. It's even funny, the situation when the dishes, right? Because I've seen, I remember the case of folks training the humanoid to do the dishes, and then they were training to open the washing machine, right? So they kind of right, took for granted or went over the step there, right? Which is, maybe the humanoids can actually wash the dishes by hand, right? That's an interesting case. But by the way, it's not like stupid, right? The case of the humanoid, we're gonna go back to that one day, because if the humanoid takes time, right, to do the dishes, and then right, you buy a washing machine and you give it to the humanoid, right? Anyway, that's for another day, because you might need eventually two humanoids and then one orders to the other, but that's not the point today. What we're doing here today is something, again, right, I caught myself doing something, and that's something new. So let me give you the context first, and then the situation there for reflection, potentially a reflection. All right, so again, right, visual code and codecs, and the non-stopping bird, right? Anyway, check it out, memos, right? So throughout some of the sessions, I'm talking about meta-coding, coding through memos. And by the way, that's nothing new, right? And this is like the reports that we do to achieve clarity. So here's a case, right? This is a directory in this computer. It's a project, and there are many memos in there, all of them dated, right? But here's the thing today. So I caught myself in this situation. Yeah, see, check it out this. Hey, hello there, my friend. Can you find somewhere a memo where we talked about manually creating a season? Can you identify a search in reverse chronological order? I think it's one of the last 10. Then, it found, right? Yeah, buddy, here's the memo. So there are two memos there, and then I realized, this is the one, right? 260. This is the damn one, right? And then I say, you found. So can you create a new memo there? Because you can use the key 120, today's memo, and then, by the way, that other the other is the 260, right? So, all right. Then, so these are the mammals, right? So what we have here, I have this one, and it is a clone of this one, right? I didn't even see that, right? Let's look at the mammal. Yeah, so manually provisioning a new season entitled something with Plex sales, blah, 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 doesn't really matter. Today's date, Marcio Galli, myself. Situation, we need to manually provision new season named Wiplex, following the same approach described in the memo. That's good, that's not too bad, right? But wait, what we have here, right? This and this. You know, I know what is this thing. I have seen this before. This is, you know, I told you before, right? This is like, you know, do like this and do like this and do like this. You know what we do in the end of the day, right? You know that, right? You have seen that. Like this is when we put like things like the I don't know, like the post-its there, right? We put a post-it here saying this is the process. So this is like from the bottoms up. We eventually put a post-it in there, don't you think? So what we have here is emerging a pattern for a repetitive process from a linear conversation. You lift something, right? You aggregate those as well. So this is something in the chat, in the group chat, it's pinned message, don't you think? So I want to say, you know, so what can I do here, right? If not to group those maybe, but I don't want to lose the linear conversations, right? What I want to do probably is something like, you know, in the README memo, master memo, I put something like, you know, those are the pinned messages, right? So can I do that now? I don't know. So let's do this, right? All right, buddy. So you know, I want to keep track of those, you know, grouped memos, I would say. Could you please group them in the main README, please? For now, at the very top, you say like group-based memos, and then you make a point about the pattern there with those two memos inside that section, okay? Thank you very much. And then go. Yeah. So you do that. It's probably doing something. Thank you very much. And eventually it should appear there. Yes, somewhere. See, group-based memos, pattern. That's not exactly the pattern that I wanted. So of course we can fix that, right? Because, you know, you're asking our colleague to group these things, and this intern person said, oh, here is the group. Oh, so what's the name of the group, my friend? That's group. And that's okay so far, right? I gotta be friendly with our buddies here. All right, thank you very much for the session. Marcio out.